masters, masters, masters of change.
Hello there. Welcome to Masters of Change. My name is Kim Cunio and I'm the head of music at the Australian National University. And I'm here with my good friend Charlie Hogg. And Charlie is the director of the Brahma Kumaris in Australia. And we are having, I guess you would say, spiritual discussions. Welcome, Charlie.
Thanks, Kim. Great to be here again.
Now, we're working on a very interesting theme at the moment about balance. It's almost so simple. It's like, you can see a picture of something that goes like this, like the seesaw. Like what goes up must come down. If it's so simple, why do we find it so hard?
Kim, I feel that it comes really from my relationship with myself. And perhaps you could say that one of the ways I see our world at the moment, 7.8 billion human beings, and look at the chaos in our world. In every country, in every community, often in almost every home. Why? Because the first relationship in life is with me, and when there's that dysfunction amongst the majority of the human race, what sort of world do we get? And a part of that dysfunction is that when I don't have a healthy relationship, I'm completely out of whack, so to speak. I'm completely out of balance. And that means that because I think I'm hopeless, I will go to extremes to please people. So that, because I can't sort of be happy with myself. If you're happy with me, I'm okay. So I look at myself through the eyes of other people. But if you're not happy with me, then I'm completely affected and disturbed. So everything starts to go completely out of balance, and a similar sort of thing, I may not eat and sleep enough because I'm once again trying to build an image in the world because I don't feel happy with myself. I want to impress people so that they feel I'm important, and that importance will make me feel better. But I think so much of the seed of it is this lack of self-value, this lack of self-respect, which I feel is the dysfunction in the mind of virtually every human being at the moment. And even the so-called really successful people. Often people think, wow, they're so successful. I once gave a meditation course to a billionaire here in Australia. And I said, why are you doing meditation? And his very words, I've been a complete success out there and a total failure in here. I said, why? He said, I'm not happy. I'm not happy. And and yet they're the models. A lot of the world is following these people who have made fortunes, and yet, there's some psychologists who say the people who just make millions and then billions, it's like, why do they do that? Each day they have to prove to themselves they're okay. We can't just sit and be content with who I am as a person. It's almost I have to keep proving myself, because that seed of imbalance, I feel, is this struggle to know my own value, to feel good about who I am, even the most so-called successful people in the world today.
Charlie, when you spoke, I remembered one of your teachings earlier on, which is this, maybe it's the hole in the heart or the abyss or the vortex. There's so many words for it. But it's like all of us have a point in our heart that is very, very, it's like, it's tender. It's like it's our youngest child is living in that heart. It's so sensitive. And when it gets exposed, it's like unbelievable pain unless we have a deep spiritual practice. And it's almost too much.
Yeah.
And I must say, it's very sad that we suffer from this, isn't it, Charlie?
It really is, Kim. I think so much of life is built around the health of my heart. And because of, forgetting who I am, then losing my self-respect, I look to you to fill in what's lacking. You don't give it to me. I feel hurt. So the heart is sometimes a broken heart, a closed heart, an empty heart. And then, like we were talking, and one of the things, then we build this big brick wall around it because I feel so sensitive. It's more comfortable to just be a cold heart in a sense than open it and feel disturbed and hurt once again. And I think that's, in a way, the heart is in the soul. The heart is in the soul. The beauty of love and belonging and closeness with myself, with others, and with the divine, that all sits in the soul. And this is the healing of spirituality. This is the incredible healing that, once I really feel the relationship with self and God heals, almost automatically I come back into a certain amount of balance. It's almost like an automatic consequence of rebuilding truth within myself.
Charlie, I love that answer. As you were speaking, I was thinking of a couple of things. One is that, when someone praises us, it's sort of like we go, wow, look at me, aren't I fantastic? But then it's so hard to live up to that praise. So even though in the short term we might go, wow, look at me, my ego gets massaged, but then we fail because it's a two-dimensional image of ourselves that's not real, and then we're so disappointed in ourselves. So how can we get around that one, Charlie?
So interesting you say that, Kim, because it's like we then put pressure on ourselves to impress people. And sometimes I think self-awareness is coming home to this place inside where I feel so still, so calm, and I take all the pressure off myself to look good, to be noticed, to be something. Because I think when we lack, we're trying to build an image in the world. I want the world to see me as something. And then I fear that because I know behind it I'm not that image, I'm something quite different. I look confident, and yet inside I feel very vulnerable. And what I've learned, Kim, over the years is that what we learn in this world is self-confidence. The confidence to speak in front of people, the confidence to manage a company, the confidence to pass an exam. It doesn't mean I like who I am. Because often when people are confident, we think, wow, look at them, they look like they know what they're doing. I can't tell you how many times I've taught meditation to what the label in their life is successful people. And a few of them have said literally the language, I feel bankrupt inside. I've built the image out there, but how I feel inside, I haven't done the spiritual work to sort of, actually wisdom is amazing. Wisdom, I think, is just to accept myself. How many people can really say deep down, I really am comfortable with who I am?
Charlie, that's a very profound question. When you spoke it, I thought, maybe we have little glimpses, don't we?
We do.
And this is why meditation is the ultimate gift. So, I know we're talking about why do we get out of balance, and I want you to hold the answer to meditation just for a second, because I want you to actually speak about materialism first, because it seems like there's one other thing that gets in the way, that we get seduced by stuff. Why is tomorrow's landfill so important to us?
I've never heard it quite expressed like that before. But we get so seduced by stuff. Well, Kim, as well as me, that one way, a common way of dealing with depression is just go and buy stuff. It gives you temporary relief. I actually gave a meditation course to a world champion sportsman. Not just once, he was champion many times. He told me once he got so depressed he went out and bought a car and a plane in one day, and he couldn't afford it. But he was just saying that little hit to take you out of this gloominess and this, this sadness inside. I often feel that it's a lack of true love. I really do. I think the first need in the human soul is love. The first desire is love. If that's not there, then all these desires begin to grow. Desire for power, the desire for control, the desire for material things. And it's just, they are endless. Why? Because that purity of love that the human soul needs so much isn't there. So everything else I may have, and yet that real experience of true love. I remember once, when Princess Diana, she died, and the whole world was so sort of affected by that. And I thought about, it's like she was the personification of the contemporary world. She had everything. Beauty, wealth, fame, everything. But she didn't have true love. The one thing she was looking for, and amongst all that, she was looking for love. And to me, what is the spiritual journey? It's the journey to find a permanent source of love, which is of the highest and purest quality. And when I learn to tap into that, I honestly feel almost everything comes back into balance naturally. It's almost like that's the healing energy that just settles me down and heals all the hurts and pain. My own experience is, if I tap into the love of God, that's to me the sort of central theme of a beautiful life, a really beautiful life.
So what you're saying is that really devoting ourselves to our inner journey and having this more living relationship with God, not only will we feel better in the short term, but it sounds like our lives will simplify over time, because we don't need to waste our time on this diversion, whether it's getting 10 cars or one car or playing that video game or whatever it is that we do to cope with the world that doesn't serve us properly. Is that right, Charlie?
It's so true, Kim, because I think when you really reflect on a time in your life where you just really felt in love or loved, what do you need at that moment? You don't need anything. You do not need anything. And that really shows that. But when I'm empty of that experience, as a compensation, I accumulate. And, I just sort of accumulate stuff, as you were saying. And how much do we use? I mean, I've heard people say they move out of their home. They've lived in for 20 years because they're moving home. And they just have rooms full of stuff they've accumulated. They haven't used. They've used once or twice and it's just there. It's and it's a sort of a compensation for what's really meaningful and important in life.
Yes. Many of us probably have older parents, and we will go through this process where we look at the belongings of a soul, the accumulation of a lifetime of accomplishment, and it's meaningless, isn't it?
Yeah.
Once they've left the body, it goes in a garbage bag and gets recycled.
That's right.
It is an incredible thought. I mean, it's worth us all really thinking together that everything external, when we really think about it, is just a mirage.
Yeah, it is.
And, maybe it's a bit confronting, but it should also, I think, be really inspiring. Because if the best things in life are free, what's to stop us, no matter where we are in life, investing our time in our betterment? So, Charlie, you seem to do this regularly. And I know that you talk a lot about what you do in the morning. I'd like you to give us a few during the day tips about little things that can help us to not only maintain the balance, but to be able to identify when we're getting out of balance. What can we do to aid this?
I think the best touchstone, there's a few actually, Kim. If my mind goes a bit into overdrive, I think we know then that I'm not making good decisions. I'm under the influence of myself. Rather than just let it grow and grow and grow, stop. Even do that traffic control, as we call it, where I sit down and I center. I'm the soul. And when I center, it's almost like you come back to truth again. You've actually gone out of truth, and I've started to be deceived by atmospheres. Often I think you can go into the city, and you're okay, and as you walk along, the vibrations in the city are buy, want, need. And if you're not really in your self-respect, you get caught up in this atmosphere, So, you spend a lot of money and you get home and you think, gosh, did I really need all this stuff? Because we get influenced by the atmosphere. So one is I would really stop. Secondly, I think that when I'm finding a relationship difficult, do a similar thing, but absolutely step into the place of seeing that person as an eternal soul like me. And sort of go beyond seeing their actions that are affecting you or their words, go right back to the soul that's behaving in this way. And really realize that, some of us, we've all got habits, they're under the influence of themselves at the moment. So in a sense, you take yourself out of their influence through wisdom, through objectivity, because you can't really change them, but you can change your reaction to them. So I just think little things, little points of stopping wherever my mind goes too fast, wherever I'm feeling a bit affected or disturbed. I sort of try to rectify it by looking through the prism of wisdom rather than the prism of emotion that's triggered by some situation or thought or feeling.
Really, you've said it in great detail, but it's sort of spiritual timeout, isn't it?
It is, yeah.
Just being able to know, like if we were in a basketball team or a football team or a cricket team and things aren't going well, the first thing the coach would be saying is stop.
Yeah.
It's not going well. Take a time to reset. And so really, our whole life is like a giant game, isn't it? So we have to actually then be our own coach. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, we do, Kim. And I've experienced on a number of occasions, if my attitude to someone or a situation's not what I would like it to be, and I remember God, I remember, I connect, I come on. It's amazing how I soften. Sometimes if my thinking has become a little bit overcritical or inappropriate, it sort of softens me and takes me back into that space where I feel more comfortable to be more benevolent or merciful or respectful, because time and time again I know you come back into your right sense of self-respect. No matter how badly people behave, if I have negative feelings about it, deep down, the real effect is I don't like myself. And we need to design a life to keep rebuilding my relationship with self. It's so damaged today. In a sense, the whole spiritual path is just healing this incredibly damaged relationship with self.
Yes, Charlie, when you spoke, I was remembering that it's an old teaching that what really gets us angry about others is often something within our own selves.
Yeah.
And so we have so much sensitivity to deal with, don't we? Hypersensitivity to the small things in life. But you're telling us a story of great hope, that it's self-awareness is the key, isn't it? To get in there early before we get consumed by the emotion. And so, even though we're going to meditate in a second, I wanted to ask you, could you demonstrate for 20 seconds just how you would get yourself back in control in a spiritual sense?
Yes, it's really like I'm speaking as I demonstrate, but in a sense, I sit in a helicopter and I go above myself and I see how I am. So it's almost like I become more of a detached observer. Is this how I want to be? Is this how I want to feel? And that detachment is a wonderful wisdom of objectivity. In a way, you're sort of matching yourself up according to your values and principles. Are you being the person? And I find almost instantly you can sort of tweak it slightly and you come back into the zone. So of course it takes practice, and sometimes it doesn't always work. But mostly I just try to do that little, if more I live by my truth, I'm comfortable with who I am. If I sort of step out of the boundaries of my truth, I can feel it instantly. There's a discomfort.
Yes.
And I often think of it like that. It's like a boundary. And if I step over, a little red light goes off in my head. You're stepping outside your values. For instance, if, I'm not respecting somebody, which is a value that's important, little red light goes off and say, you've got to look at this. So you're sort of this self-education of practice.
Yes, what you're really saying is that every day, in every big way, but also in every small way, we have to be responsible for ourselves and our own actions. That if we're not happy, no matter what someone else has done to us, we are the ones to fix it.
We are.
We cannot get angry at that person and say, fix it, it's your fault.
And that really, Kim, isn't it? It's taking my power back when they do that, that I have the power to master my life and what's happening. If I feel that, oh, because of your behaviour, I'm powerless, I keep giving my power away. But actually, when you fix it yourself, actually that's self-empowerment.
I think that's a really beautiful story. Again, it's so simple. I'm going to say this every episode. Why isn't it on the front page of every paper? So on our inner paper, we can fix this. And Charlie, could you take us on that inner journey of meditation to really apply this teaching now?
Let me become aware of who I am, the eternal soul, this micro spark of energy, life energy, that sits gently around the pituitary gland in the front of the brain. And I act through this body. The more I begin to know and experience who I am, the relationship with myself begins to heal. And step by step, gently, I step back into my self-value. Sometimes previously, if I'm criticized, I lose my self-respect. If I fail at something, I lose my self-respect. But now I learn to maintain a sense of self-value, regardless of people, their words, their behaviors, the atmosphere, the situations around me. So I start to become the master of myself. The more I live in this state of self-respect, I live in a balanced way. I assess every situation, every relationship through this filter of knowing myself and respecting myself. And so my responses to life are balanced according to the situation and according to the atmosphere. This is the highest wisdom. That I use my wisdom to apply in even a split second where I don't have time to think. But because I'm living in my self-respect, I have a naturally balanced viewpoint. And if by chance I lose that balance, and perhaps I overreact or say something I wish I hadn't, stop Sit quietly. Remember who you are. Put yourself under the influence of the All-Beloved, the Supreme, and you'll find that your balanced perspective begins to return. This is the practice of a karma yogi. A yogi who applies their wisdom to each and every part of life. Even if I'm busy, even if I have a lot of responsibility, if I maintain self-awareness and self-respect, I will remain successful in each corner of my life. Om Shanti.
Thank you, Charlie. A beautiful meditation and a beautiful discussion. So to all of you who are watching and listening, our brothers and sisters, may all of us have the intellectual smartness to see when we're going out of balance. May we feel that we have the tools to balance ourselves. May we take refuge in our love of the self and our love of God and heal ourselves from within. For all of us this is possible, and Charlie and I wish all of you a day, a week, and a life of great peace and tranquility. Om Shanti. Thank you, Charlie.
Thanks again, Kim. Thank you.